Here is what happens if you don't treat constipation. 8 dangers of constipation. The topic is very serious and unpleasant, therefore it's absolutely necessary to talk about it in the crown. Constipation is a very common condition. They occur in people of all ages, but more often in the adults and elderly. However, there is a distinct lack of attention to this problem. Firstly, there are no severe and especially disturbing disorders in chronic constipation. Secondly, there are a large number of remedies that temporarily eliminate constipation. These remedies are often used uncontrollably by patients and reduce the severity of this problem. My name is Doctor Zarifa Romanova. My patients whom I help to lose excess weight also often have constipation. I choose therapy for constipation, so this topic is very close to me and my patients. That's why today and in the next videos we are going to look at constipation more closely, discuss all types, causes and treatment of constipation. First, I will give a definition of what constipation is, name 2 signs of constipation and then 8 dangerous signs of constipation. So let's move on to break down the topic of today's video. What is constipation? There are many different definitions of this condition, but in all definitions, 2 main signs of constipation are noted. The first sign: in constipation there is difficulty in defecation, emptying of bowel, or its delay, but the question is for how long. Under normal conditions, the progression of ingested food from the mouth to the rectum lasts from 20 to 28 hours. The intestines should empty once, less often, twice a day, or at least 36 to 48 hours later. The second sign of constipation is difficulty emptying the bowel. If you empty your bowels every day, but with difficulty, and you have sheep or goat feces, this is also constipation. Normally, the stool should come out effortlessly, easily and smoothly. Thus, constipation is a pathological condition, a syndrome expressed in a prolonged more than 48-hour delay of fecal masses in the intestine, as well as difficulty emptying of the intestine. If you have one or both of these symptoms, you may have constipation. Constipation must be treated. It's not just some mild stool retention or peculiarities of your body. Chronic constipation can be dangerous to your health. And now let's look at the dangers of constipation. So what are the dangers of constipation? First, constipation increases the permeability of the intestinal wall, which leads to the entry into the blood of poisons, toxins, bacteria, and even intestinal parasites, which are very found in settling in a person with constipation. Pathogens, toxins, and poisons with blood travel throughout our body and can cause encephalopathy, damage to the nervous system, severe urinary tract damage, and even severe purulent blood poisoning, septicemia. Second, when constipation occurs, inflammation of the intestinal wall develops. Inflamed intestinal walls cannot normally digest and absorb nutrients, violating the production of enzymes that make up the intestinal juice. In addition, in the intestine, there is a synthesis of vitamins group B, C, and K, amino acids, hormones, biologically active substances, fatty acids. Inflamed in chronic constipation, the intestinal wall will not be able to synthesize all these important substances. All this leads to nutrient deficiencies and vitaminosis. Third, constipation causes compression of internal organs. A filled intestine squeezes the liver, pancreas, spleen, and even squeezes the blood and lymphatic vessels that ensure the normal functioning of these organs. Fourth, constipation can lead to difficulty breathing because the dilated and feces-filled loops of bowel support the diaphragm from below. The diaphragm is a fibrous muscular septum that plays an important role in breathing and the normal functioning of the lymphatic system. Fifth, due to constipation, immunity is reduced. In a person suffering from chronic constipation, several processes that I just listed are involved in immune decline. Chronic sluggish inflammation in the intestine, increased permeability of the intestinal wall, and impaired absorption of nutrients including micronutrients, proteins, fats, carbohydrates, and micronutrients, vitamins and minerals. Our gastrointestinal tract is the largest immune organ of the human body. About 80% of all immunocompetent cells are localized in the intestinal mucosa. In the intestinal wall, there is a large accumulation of white blood cells, the protective cells of our body. Each meter of the adult intestine contains about 100 lymphocytes. Lymphocytes and other cells in the gut produce antibodies or immunoglobulins, cytokines, and other substances that protect our body. Many allergic and autoimmune diseases are also closely linked to impaired GI function. Sixth, in constipation, many metabolic processes are disturbed. The intestine and intestinal microbiota, a set of microorganisms inhabiting the intestine, take an active part in the regulation of bile acid metabolism, cholesterol, water electrolyte balance, maintenance of the necessary pH values, detoxification of the exogenous and endogenous metabolites. Seventh, constipation increases the likelihood of anal fissure, hemorrhoids, and colorectal cancer. A 2019 study found that patients diagnosed with constipation had an increased risk of developing colorectal cancer and other GI cancers during the first year of follow-up, especially colorectal and pancreatic cancers. Eighth, constipation impairs a person's quality of life because constipation interferes with life, work, and self-development. A person who has had constipation at least once in his life knows exactly what I'm talking about. In such a state, you don't even want to think about anything. All thoughts are only about how to ease your intestines. Now you understand the dangers of constipation. There are different types of constipation, different methods of diagnosis and treatment of constipation. We will talk about it in the following videos. If you like this video, please share it with your friends. Take care of yourself and your intestines. Your Dr. Zarifa Romanova.